Hey guys, welcome to my home art studio. Coming down with a bug, so I thought I'd um, teach you via video today. Um, so yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Friday we started a new project. You're doing your name color wheels. You guys got started on a design of your name. A few of you guys were absent, so those of you who are absent, you can kind of just pick a font from a device and just kind of do your own name. A couple things to keep in mind. I'm gonna do this demonstration, and then you guys are gonna work on these projects today. So let me go ahead and draw a couple things here. So imagine that if this was the size of the paper you have, each of you should have had a half sheet of watercolor paper. There's a book there. If you guys need to have someone cut some more, you guys can cut some half sheets. So, but if this is your page, and then I picked kind of a blocky font, you want to draw your names on there as big as possible. The more your name fills the space, the better this will look when you're done. So mine might look something like this. Fills up this page as best you can. Oh, sorry, I'm really not feeling good, but I want to get this done. So anyway, you should have your piece of paper about this big, your name as big as you can make it, and then what we're going to do, you probably learned how to draw fraction circles in elementary school. I'm taking you back a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn our name into a color wheel, doing a couple different things. So the first thing we need to do is divide this up, and the color wheel we're going to focus on, we're going to do 12 different colors. So the easiest way I've found to do it is to start with a Y shape, and then you're gonna divide each of these thirds into halves. So now you should have 6, and then if you cut those each in half, you should have 12. Okay, and that's essentially what we're gonna do with your name down here. There's a color wheel up on the wall over closer to the door on the left side of the marker board. You guys can reference that throughout the day if you need some help with your color wheel. I know there's a few students in here who know the color wheel really well, so kind of help each other out as well. Usually yellow is near the top, and then you have your 3 primary colors. So you've got yellow, red, and blue. And then if you mix red and yellow, of course you get orange. If you mix red and blue, you get violet or purple. If you mix blue and yellow, you get green. So you've got your primary colors, your secondary colors, and then in between you have those tertiary colors. So green and yellow make green yellow. Really creative naming going on here. Yellow and orange makes yellow orange. Orange and red make red orange. Red and violet make red violet. Blue and violet make, you guessed it, yep, blue violet. And blue and green make blue green. Okay, so you're going to need to know that and know the order that they're in order to do this assignment. So with that in mind, you're going to divide up your name now. So put a dot somewhere. It works best if you pick a spot right in the center of your name. If you put it right between 2 letters or something, it doesn't look quite as good. And you're going to do the same thing that I did up here. You don't have to do straight lines. If you wanted to do kind of a squiggly line or something, or a jagged line, you can be creative with this. It kind of makes it cool. I'm going to try a squiggly line here, but I'm going to cut it into those same 3 pieces to start, kind of an upside down Y shape. Upside down Y shape. And then I'm going to cut these in half. Okay, and that'll give me 6. And then I need to cut these in half one more time. Notice that I'm even though I'm cutting them in half, I'm leaving clear divisions between them. You don't want to try and go squiggly and then overlap, because that kind of makes it confusing. So we're going to overlap here. Not overlap there, we're just going to divide it there. Need to divide this one. Divide this one. Divide this one. And divide this one. Okay, so it should have 12. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Does that sound right? I'll put a 1 here to remember. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, got my 12. Okay, so here's how this is going to work for the color wheel. First of all, rule number 1, sort of, or one of the rules, is I don't want you to use your secondary colors in your palette. I want you to stick with the primaries and then mix the colors. So I've got a little brush pen here I'm going to use. You can just use your brushes and they should work pretty good. So we'd start with yellow, and if this is my yellow box in here, I'm going to paint the letters in this box with the yellow color. I'm going to have to clean my paints here a little bit. They're a little messy, so just get them wet. I'm only going to be using yellow, red, and blue, so I'll use this one, and this one to do this project. To clean out your paints, just get them a little wet. Grab you a paper towel, clean them out if you need to. Well, that should be good. Better clean off my palette a little bit too. So you're gonna have to mix some colors. Important part of painting is learning how to mix colors, how to create new colors, and how to control the color. So let's go again. So this one's my clean my brush out. So if this one's my yellow, I'm going to get some yellow on my brush, and then I'm just going to paint the letter portion inside this one with yellow. Later on, after you've painted the color wheel, you'll come back over, and any of the lines will darken in either with black paint or with a Sharpie marker to make sure your name really pops out. They look pretty cool when they're done. So any of the letter portions that are in this box, which is my yellow box, I'm going to color yellow. Then what I need to do is, sometimes it helps if you put a little notation somewhere in here so you remember, but remember we're doing so we're doing the full color wheel here, which means somewhere over here opposite that yellow is going to be purple. And so while I'm doing the yellow, because what we'll also do is, if the color's yellow, we're going to put the complement of that color in the background. And so I need to figure out where my violet is so that I can put that same yellow, since I'm already painting yellow, in the background. So it looks like in order to get to violet, I've got to go, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, which makes sense, right? Half of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's going to be purple letters, but my background's still going to be yellow, so I might as well do that while I've got yellow in my paintbrush. Saves me some time later. So we want the background to be the complementary color, the opposite color. So whatever's opposite on the color wheel. If we do the foreground yellow on this side, the background on the opposite side will be also yellow. And then the opposite of purple or the opposite of yellow is purple. So now I got to mix me some purple. Grab me another paper towel here. Make sure my brush is cleaned out nice for when I'm mixing. Okay, so I've got to mix my purple because I can only use red and blue. So I'm going to get my brush loaded up with some red here. And then wash my brush out. Clean it off with a paper towel, and then I'm going to get me some blue. And I want to use about 50% of each so I can get a nice middle violet. Let's take a look at that. That feels pretty good actually. So you may want to wait for this to dry a little bit before you paint on, because if you're not careful they'll bleed. I'm going to try and be really careful. For the sake of this video, I want to keep it going here for a minute. I'm just going to not quite get up to that yellow so that I don't have to worry about the colors bleeding into each other. So in this case, there we go. My background is purple, and since I've already got my purple mixed up there, I'm going to come over here where purple should go, and I'm going to color my letters on this side purple. Or violet. Some people don't like the term purple. I think violet's the more scientific name. We're going to come back over the top of this with, like I said, a Sharpie or something, so it's okay if there's a little bit of gap between my purple and my yellow. So, okay, so the next thing I got to do, I'm going to rotate one slot down. So next to yellow is going to be my yellow-orange. And I think before I do yellow-orange, I'm going to mix my orange color. And that way I can do my orange and then come back and do yellow-orange. So I'm going to get my yellow here, put it in here. I'm going to do half yellow. And then come back, get my red, and go half yellow, half red. That's still way too red. So I need more yellow. Red's probably a stronger color than yellow, overpowers a little bit, so let's grab some more yellow and come back in, see if we can get this to be more of an orange. Getting a little closer. I think that's probably close. Okay, so now I've got my orange, so I should go yellow, yellow, orange, orange. So yellow, yellow, orange, orange. So all of my letters in this division, this is part of the K here. A little bit of the I in this as well. But then I want to leave the background here for the blue, because the blue is going to be the opposite of the orange. So then I'll come over here. Remember, you only paint the letter portions with the color, and then the background will all be with the complementary color. I gotta get all these parts in here. So if you want to experiment with creating a little texture on this assignment, that would be appropriate. It doesn't necessarily have to be super smooth. You can play around with the texture if you want. A little bit of the E up here still needs some orange. Okay, so I've painted all of the parts of the letters that are in that segment orange. I have a couple choices here. I can go over and do the blue real quick. I think that's what I'll do since it's kind of where I've been working. So I'm going to just, the nice thing about blue, I can just grab it straight from the tube here. Well, it's not really a tube, but from the block. And come in. And I'm going to paint my background blue. While you're doing this, I want you to just kind of take a look at it and see what it looks like when you put two complements right next to each other. When you mix them, it kind of makes them muddy. When you mix opposite colors, it turns into a brown, gray, gooey mess. But when you put them right next to each other, it creates contrast and actually can kind of make them, that orange might just look a little bit more bright than it would have just against the white background now that we put it next to blue. That yellow should look just a little bit brighter when it's next to that purple. Come in, fill this part in. And since I'm working with these colors already, we'll kind of do the opposite on the other side. So we got to go 6 jumps over, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on this side, my letters are going to be blue and my background will be orange. So I'll do my letters real quick with the blue. Keep working on this for a minute. Okay, so I got the orange letters here with the blue background. I've got the blue letters and I need to do the orange background. So I'm going to clean my brush, get some of this orange, and then just come back in here. So this next one will be the last one I'll have you do, then we'll pause the video and you guys can get your stuff out and start working on yours. I'm going to finish this and you can keep the video playing, but I'm just going to talk less and you guys can be working while I keep working my way around. I want to show you this part because this is a good way to kind of work through this process since you're having to mix colors. So we've got orange already mixed and I'm done with the orange. And so now I've got to create a yellow orange to go this way and a red orange to go this way. So what I'm going to do is clean off one of these spots here, maybe get rid of this blue. And then I'm gonna save the orange over here, but I'm gonna still some of it and bring it over to this side. And then I'm gonna double the amount of yellow I've got in here so that I can get a really good yellow orange. Definitely want it to be closer to yellow than to orange. So I'm just gonna keep getting some yellow in there so that, yeah, that's looking good. Okay, so definitely moving to the yellow now. So that's orange, this is my yellow. Now I can come in and paint my letters with this yellow orange. And I should be able to see that it's about halfway between the orange and the yellow. Fill in the rest of this K here. Yeah, so yellow, yellow, orange, orange. This may be a hair closer to the yellow than the orange, but it's pretty good, I think. You just have to kind of look and let your eyes tell you if there's a difference between where the difference is. So I can definitely see a clear difference here between the yellow, orange, and the orange. And there's a clear difference between the yellow and the yellow orange as well. So I know it's somewhere right in between those two. Okay. That also lets me kind of do a nice thing where I can come over here. Since I've already mixed it up, I might as well do the background on the other side over here and fill my background in. Let's see, I think I wanted to have a part of my M. There's just a little bit of the M there that's going to need to be the complement, so I may need to kind of clean that out just a little bit and come back over it with some paint. But anyway, so I've got my yellow orange here and my yellow orange here. Now the complement for yellow orange is going to be blue violet. So next thing I need to mix up is probably my violet. You can do these in different orders. You don't have to do it this way necessarily. I like to do it this way because it helps me keep things straight. So I've already got my violet mixed up, actually. So all I need to do to get my blue violet is to take a little bit of blue and come in here, and that was a lot of blue, and mix it with my violet that I already made. And then when I come later, because I'll need some red violet, I'll mix the red off to the side over there. But this is a pretty good blue violet. So I should be able to come in here and see that this color should be just a little bit more blue than that color. I think we did a pretty good job with that. Okay. Some blue violet here for these letters. Still just a little wet next door, so I'm going to try and keep a little bit of space. Be careful filling that in. Okay. Alright, so now I can kind of decide where to go next. You guys can go ahead, pause the video for a minute. Make sure you get your paints out, and you guys can start working on this, and I will keep painting so that I can kind of finish this up, and then show you how I finish it up. So go ahead, pause the video and get your stuff out so that you're ready to paint, and then you can just kind of have the video playing in the background while you guys are working on your projects. Okay. Got my orange. So I have my red orange next. Okay, so red orange, I've already got an orange mixed up, so I just need to get some red and go into my orange with whatever's left of my orange puddle. Maybe need to add a touch of yellow in there. Get it a little bit more orangey. That's the technical term for it, orangey. Okay, and so now I can come in and do my letters here. I'm kind of thinking those are too close. I'm going to put a little more red in there. There we go. That's better. You want to make sure that the color shifts from one segment to the next. Come down into the K there. So the paper I'm painting on is Bristol board. It's not the same as the watercolor paper you guys are using. It's got a smoother finish. It's actually kind of nice for painting, but the water tends to sit on top of it a little bit longer. It doesn't absorb in as quickly. So you still have some puddles here in the yellow where it's still drying, and that was the very first one we did. So yours should dry up a little bit quicker. So now that we've done the red-orange here, since I've already got it mixed up, I'm going to go to the opposite over here and do just a little bit of background that's on this side. Get the red-orange in there. Okay. So now I need to do my background for red-orange. If I look over here, the opposite of my red-orange is going to be my blue-green. So I've already got my blue mixed up here. I'm done with my oranges and my yellow oranges, so I'm going to go ahead and just clean out these trays here so that I can mix those up. All right. Okay, blue-green. So I think before I do my blue-green, I'm actually going to do my green. So I'm going to get a ton of blue here. Plop it down in there. Pretty sure the blue is going to overpower my yellow a little bit, so I'm going to probably need to get a little extra yellow in here. Clean my red out. Okay. I'm going to really swirl this around for a little bit and load up my brush with as much yellow as I can. So you'll notice when you're mixing some of these colors that sometimes they're not quite as bright. Like I've got a brighter green color here, and there's kind of just a rule in painting that the more you mix paints, the less bright or intense your color will be. And that's why on those paint sets that you have a bunch of different colors, because they're made of pigments that are already that bright, and when you mix your own paints, they just won't be that bright of a color. But it's okay for this assignment if they're not that intense. I'd rather have you have this experience of mixing your own colors. So that looks like a pretty decent green, halfway between blue and yellow. Let's see, so if this was I need blue-green here, that means that this should be red, and that means this one will be green. So I'm going to go ahead and paint my green in here. So I've got my green there, which means on this side, that'll be blue, that'll be blue-green, and then these letters will be green. So I'm gonna get those in real quick. Okay. I got that one. Grab some of this and go in here. Oh. Got my hand in that. Nice thing about having this not dry out as quick is it gives you a little more time to come back in and blend things if you are trying to get a really smooth finish. But, okay. Try and fix that a little bit where I put my hand in it. There we go. Okay, so now I've got my green done. I'm going to grab some blue here and mix up a blue-green. Actually, I don't think that's probably too strong. I think I can just do it right here. And this, well, mix that in, come in and paint in the background here. Should be blue-green. Yeah, that looks good. Halfway between this green and this blue. This background, blue-green. Try not to let those edges touch so they don't bleed into each other. Okay, and since I've got that one done and I'm ready for it. This was the background, so this is going to be the letters on this side. Might as well come in and do that while I'm got that paint mixed up, ready to go. Come back in with a little bit of red there. Just grab some red real quick. Nice little definition. Okay. All right. So now we already did our green. So let's go back in and do straight red right out of the well here. And hopefully it should be, yep, just a little bit brighter and more red than my red-orange. This is getting a little full of water. I may want to dry that out a little bit. Sometimes you can use your brush just to lift a little water out and then put it in your paper towel. Okay, same thing up here. My green is, I need to do a red background. Come in here. There's my red. So now all I have left to do is my red violet, and then the opposite of red violet is the green yellow or yellow green, probably yellow green. So I've already got my violet mixed up and I've already got my green mixed up, so this should be fairly simple. I'm just going to take a little bit of my red and come back in and mix up a mostly red with a little bit of purple color like that. And probably ought to let it dry for a minute. You can probably see that there's still some puddles on there. I'll be really careful kind of right in here for a minute. Oh, that's the wrong place for that. It's going to go in the background on this side. Let's see. Mix a little bit more purple in there. You can see that what you start to create when we talk about temperature with colors, the more orange or the closer to orange a color gets, the warmer it gets, and then the closer to blue it gets, the cooler it gets. And so as you look at just this red portion here, you go from a really warm red to just plain red to a kind of a cool colored red. Come back down here. Paint this color right into the letters. So the last color I need is yellow-green. So I'm going to come in here, get a lot of yellow, and mix it in here with the green, but mostly yellow with a little bit of green. I'll use that to do the final touches here. Yeah, that's a good yellow-green. So you go from a warm green to a regular green to a cool green. Come up here on this side, it's the letter portion. Okay, so I've gone completely around this with my color wheel. We're going to let it dry for a minute, and then we'll come back in and emphasize both the name and the divisions a little bit. You can use a Sharpie to do that. You can also just use some black paint. I'm not sure if I have black paint. Oh, there's my black color right there. So looks like I can start in a couple spots. So if I was using black paint, I think the first thing I'm going to do is outline my letters again with the paint. So get some water in. Oh, that's brown. Okay. Don't have black. At least in that set. Let's see here. Alright, since I don't have black, but I do have ink, so let me grab some ink. You guys can just use black watercolor. I'm going to use just black ink with a watercolor brush. And go in and outline these. So found it works best if you're trying to pull a straight line. If you adjust your paper and pull it straight towards you, it's harder to pull lines side to side. Come in, let's see here. Still wet. Hopefully you get the idea at least. Be really careful with these, do a nice job. Should be enough Sharpies at the tables that you guys can share and use. If you don't want to paint the lines in. Next to the eye. Works better to try and do it in long strokes rather than little short ones, just because just keeps the line smoother. Be real careful around here because that red is still wet. So close to that, hoping to keep it from bleeding in. You guys should just be patient and wait for it to dry. down and maybe hit the bottom of these letters with a little bit heavier line just to add some visual weight to them. Almost like a drop shadow effect on the font. Okay. I could come back in with maybe a little lighter line and define those if I wanted to. I actually think it looks kind of cool just the way it is, so I'm not going to do that right now. But that's what you're going for. I'm checking to see that you can show me you can mix these colors. So remember, only use the primary colors: yellow, red, blue. Everything else I want you to practice mixing and make a really cool kind of logo of your name. So, all right. And this video will be available on Canvas and on YouTube. So if you ever want to come back and kind of review, or if you need a little extra, go back and check on something. If there's anything that you need to, any confusion you need to clear up, you can check the video out again. So, all right, thanks guys. Good luck.